All right. Hey, team. Welcome to our weekly Monday Night Huddle. I'm Amber Ike. And tonight we are just going to be recapping Super Saturday 2017. We just had that a couple days ago, and I know that it was an awesome time full of great information and some awesome upcoming things that Plexus is unveiling. And so we thought we would just take some time tonight and share our top takeaways. A lot of us on the call tonight were at a Super Saturday, and I think Illinois had the most attendance from our team. I think JTD represented Illinois. That was amazing. Oh my goodness. But I know we were in Illinois, Texas, Ohio, California. Where else? Nashville. Where else? I think there was another spot that, I know there was somebody in Scottsdale. So our team was just representing all over the nation. Oh, in Philly too. I know Lisa was in Philly. So,
Ohio?
Yes, Ohio with Melissa. So that's super exciting. And I know next year our team will be all over during Super Saturday. So I was just going to jump in with my quick takeaways. One of the things that really stood out to me is just how Plexus, because this is my 4th Super Saturday, and honestly, you guys, like when I joined Plexus, and I know we probably all kind of felt that way, but there was nothing. Like there were Sonia Dudley videos on YouTube, there were Sarah Marble videos on YouTube, and that was it. Like I am not even making that up. That was it. And so one thing I love is how Plexus as a corporation is really providing and coming up with tools to where anyone can start this business, whether they have an active sponsor or they don't, and they can really run with this and feel like they have someone holding their hand the entire time. This rank up roadmap that they talked about is going to be amazing, and it's going to be personalized, and it's going to be it's going to meet people where they are. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed when they sign up with the idea of going diamond, and like you don't have to think that big in the beginning, right? But just how to get to silver, how to get your products paid for. So the rank up roadmap is going to be so exciting, and I love that the different diamonds came up with that, because they definitely know what people need when they get started. And one quote they said at Texas, I don't think this was a quote that they said everywhere. I think it was Amy Kosmalski's quote. But she said, hope puts you in the car, and your why is the gas that keeps you going. I don't know if that was said everywhere, but I love that, because that's how we all got started. Like hope got us in the actual car, got us in the Plexus car, hoping that whatever would get better. But your why is the gas that keeps you going. And I just thought that was really, really important, because for all of us, we need to know what that gas is that's going to keep us going forward in our businesses. And I don't want to camp out too much on anything, because I know you guys are probably going to cover a lot. A couple other great things, but I feel like somebody's going to share it. And if you don't, I'll come back to it at the end. But my biggest takeaway, you guys, and I was like an emotional mess on Saturday, probably a bunch of hormones going on too. But my biggest takeaway, I have always said that this is so much bigger than Plexus. Like the relationships, the friendships you gain in this, the dreams, just the hope that you have, everything that we get to experience is so much bigger than Plexus. It's bigger than our products. It's bigger than our comp plan. And this weekend just showed me how much bigger. It just confirmed everything I already knew. And that is my favorite part of this, is when something happens to a Plexus ambassador, it doesn't only affect that person, it affects everyone. We are a family, and that stood out to me the most and just confirmed what I already knew. And I see that with our team, that when one of us has a struggle, when one of us has a hardship, yes, we turn to our spouse, we turn to a best friend. But I know for several of us, like when we've gone through hard things, some of the first people we go to are Plexus people. And that is amazing, you guys. Like, a lot of us haven't even really met in real life yet, you know? And the fact that we feel so bonded with each other to lift each other up in prayer, to go, you know, send somebody flowers or whatever the case might be, that I will be with this company forever because of the kind of culture that we have. When one thing happens to somebody, that we can just stop and as a room, just lift that person up. So I know all of you that were at Super Saturday probably had that experience too. But that was my biggest takeaway. Like, I could care less if our compensation plan like changes tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, knowing that we are with a company that has that kind of integrity and just care for people, that is what I want to be a part of. So that was mine, but I'm going to just toss the baton to whoever wants to share. I know there were a few of you that wanted to share. And make sure you unmute yourself.
I'll jump in. So a couple of mine were, you touched on a little bit already, but the training is huge. Like, I come from corporate America background, and I come from I got laid off in July from a company that I was with from the ground. Like, literally, it was the CEO and me, built it up to a $10 million company, and then sat around and watched her run it into the ground going, please stop what you're doing, and just not being able to make her stop because it wasn't my company. And it was, I mean, there was other stuff too. It wasn't her running it into the ground. That's not really a completely fair statement, but there were definitely huge mistakes made along the way. And one of them was absolutely no priority on training. It was, you know, you were just thrown in there, hit the ground running, and sink or swim. And that's just how it was. It was like, we don't have the money for that. We can't bill our clients for that. So, you know, feel free to do it on your own if you want to go out and purchase your own training. But otherwise, you know, and I mean, I really think that was a huge part of the failure of the company. If people don't know what they're doing, they can't succeed. So, and some of us figured it out. I figured it out for 20 years, but you know, eventually it's all going to come to a head. So I think that's huge. And I loved that. And the training it's not only that, but part of the job that I had for all of those years was looking at graphics and determining if they were right and they looked right and they laid out right and if the font was right and all of this stuff. And the Plexus stuff is beautiful. Like, as someone who professionally has spent years looking at that kind of stuff, I wouldn't have changed anything on it. And that's amazing too, because it's pretty to look at, and that matters when you're going to be spending, you know, time every day looking at it. And then my other big one was the Kendra Hall part. She talked about, I'm looking at my notes, engaging through story. I love that. And I loved it so much that I came home and I found her online, and she has an ebook, a free ebook, and I downloaded that. I haven't started reading it yet, but I downloaded it because I want to learn more. There's another person from my writer and editor circles that some of y'all may have heard of too, Donald Miller. That's his whole thing, is marketing through story. And I followed him for years, and it's so true. And one of the things that he always says is, you have to remember that your customers want to be the hero of their own story. They don't want you to step in and be the hero. Oh, I can fix this for you. I can do this for you. No. They want to know what they can do for themselves to be there. And so I loved her perspective, sort of built on that. And I can't wait to get into her ebook.
Yes. Good point, Carrie. Yes. So Kendra Hall is her name, right? Kendra Hall.
Right. It's Kindra.
Okay. So
yeah.
Kindra Hall. She was a vivacious little firecracker.
I loved her.
She must have taken an edge before she did that video. But, so she has a free ebook, and I need to download that. So good call on that. Awesome. Thank you, Carrie.
Sure.
Who is up? I think most of y'all went, so I'm going to start calling on people. This is fun. Just kidding.
I'll go.
Yeah.
So I was like, a lot of my takeaways are for new ambassadors, just because that is like my little like niche. But and I've been wanting to revamp the new ambassador training, and I think I'm really excited the way they're rolling this out. They're giving a little bit more of like the information towards the new people and a little bit more guided. And so I think that's going to be a really, really exciting time in the next couple months, whenever they unveil it all. I don't know when they'll do it, but like a lot of it was like repetitive of what we've learned over time, but just the way we had, I was in Illinois, so we had Sheila Medina and Sarah Taylor. And so they have very different styles of like running their business. So it was really cool to see them work together and how like, even though like they're two very different people and how they ran their business, like Sheila Medina became a Sapphire before she ever got Facebook. So like those types of things, like it was cool to see and how they translated that into the training and how they brought in their own like anecdotes and testimonies into that. So that was my main takeaway, was like whenever they were doing like the 5 things, like 2 through 4 were my like big ones that I was like, okay, I get this. I really I liked the way Plexus is unveiled this.
That is such a good point, Amanda. Just paying attention to like how different Sheila and Sarah are in personalities and then in life, you know. And I would say the same for our speakers. We have Amy Kosmalski and Cheyenne Weeble, and they are so different from each other too. And seeing how both of them can be successful. Plexus probably did that. They probably had like opposite speakers at every place they had, you know, just to show us anyone can do this, you know, and just being yourself on your way to the top. So that's an awesome takeaway too. Sweet. Who else?
I can share mine before my house gets loud. My boys are watching wrestling, so it's always crazy. But I loved the storytelling, as I think Carrie already touched on. That was by far my favorite part. I'm a very animated person, in case you guys didn't know that, and I speak with my hands a lot anyway. And I've talked to my team multiple times about, if you're talking to somebody, whether it be through voice message or doing a Zoom, you know, you don't want to talk like this. You want to show your emotion. And so I'm always very interactive and very excited, and it's kind of by nature too. So anyway, I loved her. She definitely took her boost, accelerator, and edge all at the same time. And that may be a little extreme. She needed a mega X to kind of calm that out, but loved her. I loved what she had to say. It's just so true to be able to identify people's emotion. And I don't remember what other speaker we've heard or books we've read before that talk about laying out the path, you know, and we do that anyway when we're training our teams of our daily affirmations or your vision board. You know, lay in one spot and look around you and see what's going to change. There's no different when you're speaking to your best friend about the opportunity or talking to a stranger on the street, you know, laying that pathway, something that impacted your life. So that was my favorite. And Kayla and I actually worked on all 3 of ours while we were driving back from Springfield. So we'll have to do a huddle of practice. That will be fun.
Yes, I love, and maybe someone's going to touch on this, but the elevator speech and just really coming up with something that is your own. Like, I think that needs to be a huddle, because, I mean, I'm guilty of that. Like, when people ask, what do you do? I don't immediately say, oh, I'm a Plexus ambassador. And Nikki and I've talked about that. Like, she's making crazy, crazy money, and she still doesn't say she's a Plexus ambassador at first. You know what I mean? So I love the elevator speech in the sense, like, you say it in a natural way that's going to draw people in, you know? Awesome.
Well, and I don't know if you guys had, I think everybody had the same videos. As Amanda said, we had Sarah Taylor. So they practiced that. And who was the other person that spoke? I can't even think of
Emily Fennell.
Yeah, and she said something about, I'm a Plexus ambassador, and Sarah's response was, oh. And I think that's a very true thing. People are either like, I have no clue what that is, or they're like, freak, another health and wellness pyramid scheme, yada, yada, yada. But if you just show it with passion and speak it with passion, people in general want to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and I think it kind of goes back to the whole, like, you guys know I love me some Bob Heilig. but he's all about like branding yourself. Like you are selling yourself. Like people are going to buy you or they're not. And, you know, so we have to have that confidence that, I don't know. Yeah. Cool.
I'll go.
Yes.
Since we were on the topic of Amy Kosmowski, who's
Yes.
funny.
She's
She
so
was
funny.
awesome. My favorite thing out of the day actually came from her, and it was her quote that she said she tells her team, which is, your want is not your why. And I don't know about y'all, but I was so guilty of that. Like when we write down our why do I want this? I want this. I want to do this. I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to pay off debt. I want whatever it is that you want. And I'm sure that was rehearsed with what she did with Cheyenne, but it was so cute. And I just think that's another great idea for Huddle, or just work with your power partner. But they just went through this exercise where they just asked deeper and deeper questions. Well, okay, Cheyenne, you want to be able, you know, you want to stop asking people for money to go to Vietnam. What would that mean? Well, it would mean that we wouldn't have to ask for fundraising for tickets. We could actually raise money and give it to the people of Vietnam and not have to use it to pay for our mission trips. Well, what could that mean to the people there? And so they went through this whole exercise, and it was really great to get down like to the nitty gritty of what your why actually is, the difference that it can make, as opposed to what you want to do with the money if you go diamond. It was just a really great exercise. So I would recommend that like to anyone. Carrie and I were doing it. They gave us time to do it in the room. And it's really incredible when you start to ask questions of each other. Well, what could that mean for your family? What could that mean for the people? What could that mean for your... So it really, I don't know, that was probably one of my favorite things, because I'm so guilty of not having my why at that level. And I do think it makes a big difference.
I agree, Kirsten. And because that's the thing, like your why, and they say that all the time, your why should make you cry, you know? And I think we just pass over that. And it's like when Cheyenne was sharing her example and saying, well, she wants to stop asking people for money, fundraising, you know, to go on their missions trips. That isn't strong enough to make somebody work their business. Like that's just an awkward feeling, you know, you'll do it if you have to. But when it got down to it, and her why was like, okay, if we make this kind of income, then we know that we can fundraise for our passion, which is children in Vietnam. That'll make you wake up and get to work. You know what I mean? Like, so I love that too, because it's just like on the surface level, you're like, well, I just don't want to ask people for money. No.
When we went through the questions and we got to the end, Carrie was like, I never knew that about you. I never knew that was your why. Like, and she's on my team. You know what I mean? Like, so that, like, I mean, that just really hit home for me that we probably all need to push ourselves beyond, I want to live debt free, put my kids through college, because there's more to that for all of us. So true.
So true. I love that. Dig deep, go through the layers. Awesome. Who else wants to share?
I will. I'm going to take it in a different direction and just say that I absolutely love the rebranding of that Plexus is the health and happiness company. That is huge. I mean, you can say health and wellness about a lot of different things, a lot of different companies, a lot of different brands, but the B2B health and the health and happiness company is huge. And I think, I mean, all of us, I mean, are just so happy all the time. We just love Plexus, and we puke it all the time because we're just so happy, and we probably are overboard. Our friends probably think we're just those crazy Plexus ladies, but I think it was a great move for Plexus to do that and to change the look of the company and to get that slogan and that concept out there, because they're right. We're doing what other companies want to do and should do, but we are doing it, and we're doing it with a smile on our face. And so I just thought that was great.
Yes. Good point. So true. And it's just fun to say health and happiness. Like, why wouldn't you join? Like, duh. Awesome. Who else? I love it. I love how we all have such different takeaways, you know?
Mine was right when it started. It was like one of the first things one of our girls said, and I don't remember which one said it. It might even have been in the video that we watched, but they talked about fear being disguised as practicality. And it really hit home because I do a lot of, when we talk about our dreams and we talk about our goals and we talk about dreaming big, and what that would look like, I think I lean, and I've called it practical for a long time, and I'll be like, well, I want to be emerald and I'm shooting for emerald, but I don't think that's going to happen because I'm so practical and my points just aren't there and that kind of thing. But really, when I dig deep, it's fear. It's fear of failure. It's fear of reaching out to that many people to make it happen. There's a lot of fear in there. So, it was eye-opening to hear that statement, and to put it in perspective of there's more too. And, of course, the learning how to dig deeper into our why and get past that fear. Because I think when we dig deep and we figure out the very basics of our why and the nitty gritty of it, we're willing to walk past that fear and do it anyway. So yeah, I loved it. And then I'm sorry, I was on a phone call when you first started, but I did catch the little bit of your biggest takeaway of Super Saturday. And that's literally what it was for me. I had an ambassador that was there that's been using the products for almost a year. And she leaned over the second time that we prayed together as a group and said, this right here is what has impressed me about this company. This right here is why I'm here today, because I've seen you post stuff about this before. And I've never known of a company that acts like this before. Y'all are a family and there's no fear here for everybody to grab a hand and to come together and to petition peace and healing for our family. Because that's really what these ladies are. It's really what these kids are to us. When one of our kids get hurt, we're in it. We're in it together. And you don't find that everywhere, especially not in a company. So that really, it hit home with me, and I know it hit home with a lot of us. That was absolutely my biggest takeaway. That's why I'm here. That's why I've stuck with this company when things get tough, because they do. Business is business, and it's not all health and happiness. There can be rough days, but knowing that we are all in this together and that we've got each other's backs, and that we're just always there for, the best of it, and we can come together. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that.
The biggest.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, this is a volunteer army. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to stay here if you don't want to be here. And so I think that's what makes it such a family feel. It's like, if something happens to one of us, like we're here by choice, and so we're invested in what we're doing. So I love that. Awesome. Anyone else want to share? We'll take a couple more.
I'll go.
Yes.
I agree with everybody about so much of what you've already said. So I'm going to scratch through all of those notes. And I have a more, I don't know, I'm the social media nerd. And I loved when Sarah Taylor was talking about when you have that amazing post that you want to share that was someone else's, don't just copy and paste it. Make it your own, personalize it, tweak it, change the verbiage, update the picture, look at that bigger picture of what you're trying to say and message and make it you projecting that out. And maybe not do the most popular thing right away, but click the little arrow at the top of that post and save it. Go back through those archives in a couple weeks and start to post things that have died down in your circle or around you, so that it's new information again and it doesn't just look like we're all sharing off of each other all the time. And I think that's extremely smart, because I just talked to a gal today. I went to visit her this afternoon after work about Plexus, and she's like, yeah, I see you posting all the time about Plexus, but until we actually get together and visit, I really still didn't get what it was. And I know I post about what it is all the time, but it's a blur, you know? So I want to change up not a lot about what I do, but some about what I do. And I think I just want to get more simple for a while, but again, keeping it more personal and making sure we are not just putting other people's words on our posts all the time. Sometimes it's a perfect fit. Sometimes you don't have to tweak a stinking thing and it rolls off the tongue like you would have said it yourself. But if it doesn't, then Sarah was right. We really need to go in and make sure that it's coming from our heart and our mind, and because our audience is going to know, like if someone's not used to saying the word plethora, and plethora of knowledge is in the statement, they're like, where the heck did they get that? You know, they can't even speak that, let alone spell it. So we just have to be smart about what we're doing, because people are savvy and they're going to pick up on it.
Yes, I love that, Christy. That's such a practical, great point. We all have our own voice, you know, and we all have our own audiences. Like you're attracting people who are like you more than likely. So like Christy said, like if you're not used to saying certain words and you're putting that in your post, your friends are like, what the heck? Like, I don't care about whatever you're talking about, you know? That's like Jill Renfro. Like, I wish I said sister girl all the time. Like, I love how she says sister girl, but that's not how I talk. So even though I would love to, it's just not me. So definitely use your own voice. And for those of you who don't know, does everyone know what Christy was talking about? How there's the little drop down like carrot on a post. So say you're scrolling Facebook and you're like, oh my gosh, Christy just posted an awesome post. I want to post it. Instead of copy pasting and doing it that second, there's a little drop down carrot. And what does it say? Like save link, save post, something like that. And then on the left-hand side it's on your computer. I don't know how you get to, I guess, yeah, you just go to saved. There's a saved section in Facebook, and it will pull up all the videos, all the graphics you've saved. And then you can kind of plan out your week, you know, like in a couple weeks, like Christy said, it'll remind you of those amazing posts and give it time to kind of die down in that circle before you post it again and make it your own. That has been a huge, they only started doing that, like Facebook only started doing that like a few months ago, and that has been a game changer for my business. Amanda, she said she has to change all the y'alls from her Texas friends. I will say Amy Kosmalski is from Delaware, and she was like going to town with the y'alls. Like it was flowing off her tongue by the end. I was proud of her.
Hey, Amber, one thing that I don't know if people are aware when they're using that save feature, you also have the ability to archive it. So say that I use Tiny Torch. So once I then pull it in, tweak the language, and make it mine in my Tiny Torch library, I archive that saved piece on Facebook so that it's not like I'm not having to scroll through 1,000, different saved posts that I've saved from other people when I know that I've already kind of moved it over into my portal that I use for loading.
Yeah, that's really smart. I wish there was a way to like organize them, like business post, like product post. I'm like demanding though. But yes, good point. You guys, you're so funny. You're talking about how you say y'all and you guys. Oh, people in Ohio say y'all? That's weird. Isn't that the Midwest? That's confusing to me. So funny. Close to Kentucky. Oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Anyone else have a takeaway that you want to share?
I do.
Yeah.
We had an Emerald who was hosting there in Nashville, and her husband had passed away, I think, in the last year, and he was Ruby, and she's Emerald, and just the legacy part where, his business, she still has that, and, she didn't lose it, and
Was
so
that
now
Alita?
yeah, yes.
Yes. I think he passed away like when she was getting ready to go to convention last year, right?
Something like that, yeah. But it just, where you have something you can leave to your family and it doesn't go away. I like that.
That is huge. That's
Kathleen Hepler and Jen Hawkins were there, and they were also very different.
You
but
had
they worked really well. Yeah, they worked really well. It was great.
She's my best friend. She actually is going to be one of our guest speakers on our huddle while I am on maternity leave.
All right.
I'll probably hop on for that just because we're best friends, but that's awesome. Yeah. What'd you say, Amy?
No, it was great.
Yeah. I think Plexus did that. Like they got 2 different types of personalities. That sounds like what they did. Yeah. So fun. Awesome. Anyone else want to share? These are so fun. It's like show and tell. Amanda, like real best friends or like are your best friends with the McCalls? I mean, it just depends on the day. Like she knows me. I'm like, hello. I am her level 4. So that's got to say something. I mean, I think we're going on like family vacation with them this year. So I guess we're like BFFs. It's so funny.
I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there and I was listening to everything, that we had Jennifer Lee and then Kristen. I didn't catch her last name, but she was from Arkansas. They were both great, and they were kind of like emphasizing how important live videos are, and a lot of the training that you guys have been doing with us. And they also was talking about our Frank's list and how important that is. And I noticed that like a lot of people around me were not really noticing about how important the live videos were. And yeah, I got a lot of take of what we've really been doing and how much they were emphasizing how important it is. And so it's been pretty awesome. I have like a million notes that I took. But my favorite was that I believe it was Kristen. She said that she recorded herself saying like, Kristen, you are amazing. You are a diamond. You will be driving a Lexus. And she like recorded herself and she listened to it every single day until it actually happened. So that way she was in a mindset that was going to happen in the future.
That's awesome. Did you say the first one was Jennifer Lee?
Yes.
Like the redhead? I love her. She's so sweet. She's really down to earth.
They were both awesome.
That's so fun. Awesome. Hang on, I'm just reading these. Anyone else want to share? We'll go for like 4 more minutes because I know it's like 9:11, so. Anyone else?
I was just going to say, like, in general, I think we've kind of talked about all 5 things, but we had the 5 things that we talked about that was kind of the roadmap to being silver, and it was build your vision, create your networking plan, increase your Plexus knowledge, share Plexus, and exercise healthy business practices. Those were the 5 things that they looked at. And I think kind of the big thing that that when they were talking about creating your network plan, there was like you said, the elevator speech that was like, I am who works with blank, who wants to blank in order to blank. And I think that was a really focused way of doing that, you know, because that's something that I struggle with, just rambling as well. And then they stressed a lot about, like Sarah Taylor especially was stressing a lot about not about being being general with your like Facebook posts, as far as talking about plexus without saying plexus all the time. And I thought that kind of stuck out to me. I really liked the little role plays that they did too, those videos that I think they sound like they will be released pretty soon, but I thought that was pretty neat, as far as, you know, just giving you an idea of how a couple things can go. Like, I haven't really talked to a whole lot of people in person, you know, like set up meetings in person. And so, you know, it's hard to read people over Messenger, you know, obviously, or text, you know, and kind of see how you feel, besides just, you know, them ignoring your messages or not reading them, or, you know, you try to put your own tone with things, and that's not always the wisest thing. So.
Yeah. Did Sarah give any examples on like how to like post without really saying plexus but still getting the point across? Or
And she was kind of talking about, you know, talking about like the energy that you have or something like that, without saying it's from the pink drink, you know, and just talking about things in general. You know, I have a lot of, I don't even know what in specific she said, but, you know, just talking about the great sleep that you had without saying, yeah, thanks to my Omega X or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
People know that you like this, and they know it's probably from your products. And that also leaves them a little bit of open-endedness to ask you then about those connections too.
That's so true. Like, just because we always talk about being a product with the product, and I think sometimes we translate that to, okay, I need to lose 30 pounds for people to know this works, you know? And that's not what it is. It's just like being that health, being that happiness that people are just going to see in your daily life. And I mean, I think people kind of like see that with me. Like, I've been getting a lot of people messaging me like, oh, you know, we want to be getting pregnant soon. I want to be, you know, and I know that they just see me enjoying my pregnancy because of these products. I'm not talking about plexus all day, every day, and how it's helping me with my pregnancy, but they clearly see like I still have good energy for 37 weeks, you know? And so just, yeah, Lynette, I get that. That's so, so smart. Like, not every post has to be like, thanks, plexus, you know? Just be a living, walking testimony. So good.
Okay, I want to share mine real quick. I got the baby to put, like, she's laying down. But anyways, so we had Sarah Taylor and Sheila Medina, and I loved how they talked about how they're both diamonds, and their goal every single month is to go silver. Like, I loved that, and they were talking about how, you know, when you go silver for that first time, it's so exciting, and they like to keep that excitement, and that's their goal every single month is to go silver. I really liked that one. So.
Well, and it's so simple. Like, we overcomplicate it. We're like, okay, I have 3 people. Now let's just make them work their businesses. And if that happens, that's awesome. But the way people are inspired on your team is seeing how you're not waiting around for them to do something. Like, you're actually still working your business, you know, and that keeps us empowered. Like, I know for me, 3 years in, when I get a new ambassador, like, I'm so much more empowered than, you know, waiting around for our team to do whatever. So I love that. And it's simple. 3 people a month. Like, if we're growing our networks, that's not, if we really believe in what we're doing, 3 people should not be hard for all of us, you know? So good. All right, girls, let's take a picture real quick. And let me close the chat. So show yourselves if you want to be in the picture. Oh, wait, let me stop the